What if your neighbor tried to steal your house while you watched her on your security camera, thousands of miles away? That's exactly what happened to me, and let me tell you, it's a story that'll make your blood boil and your jaw drop. My name's Ethan, and this is how I took down Lisa, the HOA dictator who thought she could bully an entire neighborhood into submission. It all started 2 days into what was supposed to be a soul-cleansing solo hiking trip in the Rockies. My phone buzzed with a notification from my security system. Someone was on my porch. I figured it was just a delivery guy, so I opened the app. Nope. There was Lisa from the HOA, clipboard in hand, phone out, prowling around my property like she was starring in a cheap detective flick. Through my doorbell cam, I watched her scowl at my flower beds, snap photos of my porch light, even my doormat, before sliding a notice under the door. When I remotely unlocked it later to check, the notice screamed, "Violation, unkempt property. Potential abandonment." Abandoned? I'd been gone for 3 days. Let's be clear, my house was spotless. My lawn guy had mowed the morning I left, my smart sprinklers were on a timer, and I had motion lights set up like Fort Knox. But Lisa's notice listed nonsense: overgrown grass, piles of debris, and, get this, expired paint, on my mailbox, like it was yogurt past its sell-by date. I thought it might be a mistake, a mix-up with another address. Then I checked my Nest Cam's cloud history. There she was, taking selfies in front of my abandoned home, smirking like she just busted a drug lord. I fired off an email to the HOA with the footage. All I got back was a robotic, "We'll look into it." The next day, Lisa was back with her sidekick, Brian, a twitchy guy who seemed to exist just to nod and clutch a clipboard. My cameras caught them measuring my grass with a ruler. I'm not kidding. Lisa squatted in my yard, ruler in hand, while Brian snapped photos. The grass was 2.9 inches, well within code. Didn't matter. She slapped another violation on my door. Repeat offense. No sign of occupant. Final warning. This wasn't just overreach. It was a setup. A neighbor later tipped me off that Lisa had told the HOA board I'd skip town. She lived across the street, knew I traveled for work, and definitely knew about my cameras. This was no accident. I stayed calm. Kept the cameras rolling. Told my lawn guy to text me photos every sit. I even had my buddy Jake, a former Marine turned IT nerd with a fedora obsession, swing by and wave at the camera. That really ticked Lisa off. Next thing I know, she's snapping pics of Jake, labeling him an unauthorized occupant, and another warning she left. It hit me, she wasn't looking for me. She was building a case to claim I'd vacated my home. If I hadn't been watching in real time, she might have pulled it off. The kicker came a day later. My cameras caught Lisa strolling my property with a guy in a polo shirt marked Vantage Realty. They pointed at my windows, talked numbers, even peeked into my backyard through the side gate. Lisa was trying to list my house. Her fake abandonment claims weren't about fines, they were about flipping my home for someone in her pocket. I was 1,000 miles away, heart pounding, watching them plot like I didn't exist. I called my lawyer that night. He didn't mince words. That's not HOA nonsense. That's potential real estate fraud. I cut my trip short, parked a block away, and let the cameras run one more day. Sure enough, Lisa showed up with a key. She held it up, whispering to Brian, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. The key didn't work. I'd changed the locks after a porch pirate incident. She jiggled the doorknob, then faked a wellness check, knock, like she was Mother Teresa checking on a shut-in. That's when I stepped out from the side of the house, arms crossed. Looking for me, Lisa? She jumped like she'd seen a ghost, her face draining of color. She shoved the key in her bag, stammering. Oh, you're back early. Just a wellness check. Brian nodded like a bobblehead, avoiding eye contact. I didn't need to yell. The camera above us was blinking red, catching every second. Lisa, I said, cool as ice. You're not a cop, not EMS, not even a licensed property manager. And that's not your key. She puffed up, all smug. Actually, under HOA Clause 3B, Section 14, I can secure abandoned premises. I pulled out my phone, read the actual clause. Inspections need board approval and 72 hours notice. Since I've got video of you lying to the board and trying to sell my house, I said, maybe stop quoting rules you haven't read. For once, Lisa was speechless, her frown screaming. How dare you outsmart me? Brian muttered about updating the spreadsheet, and bailed. Lisa stormed off, heels clacking, still gripping that mystery key. The next morning, I woke to an occupancy review notice taped to my door, signed by Lisa with a Microsoft Paint level logo. It accused me of wild stuff: no trash cans on pickup day, drawn blinds in the daytime, and me favoritino holiday wreath. Apparently, skipping a Christmas decoration was grounds for EVY tie-in in Lisa's world. She'd even submitted a motion to the board, without notifying me, claiming my home was eligible for forced reclamation, under a 1998 charter clause meant for actual abandoned properties, not a guy on vacation with a lawn service. I called an emergency board hearing and brought my ace, Rachel, my neighbor's sister-in-law, a former HOA president turned paralegal who lived for this kind of fight. Rachel laughed at Lisa's documents. She's mixing clauses from two charters. Neither supports this. Plus, you've got video. She's toast. With Rachel's help, we filed a cease and desist and demanded an outside mediator. Lisa doubled down, harassing Jake on LinkedIn, demanding to know why he was in a restricted community. She started inventing rules midweek, like mandatory door wreaths and porch visibility hours. One morning, I found a laminated sign zip-tied to my mailbox. Community Pride Zone, Lisa's watch. Even some board members got nervous. One texted me anonymously. She's gone too far. Reclamation was never for active homeowners. Turns out, Lisa had bullied two board yes-men into approving her motion without understanding it. The realtor she brought? I checked with the state board. His license lapsed 6 months ago, and he'd been fined for shady listings. They were caught on camera conspiring to sell my home based on lies. I went nuclear. Printed a 20-page packet of footage, fake notices, and legal docs, and hand-delivered it at a community meeting with a local news reporter eyed quietly in Ted. The rec center was packed. Word had spread, thanks to my neighbor Sarah's Facebook group. Keep our block free. Lisa strutted in late, badge reading. HOA Compliance Director. A title she made up. Rachel whispered, "Let the circus begin." The board chair, Tom, a spineless insurance guy, asked if any motions needed addressing. Lisa shot up. I move for final action on property 1378 for vacancy and compliance failures. Tom blinked. The owner's right here. Lisa didn't flinch. He returned after proceedings began. The damage is done. I stood, dropped my packet on the table with a thud. So your plan was to sell my house while I was hiking? I've got the footage. I showed clips of her on my porch, with the realtor, holding that key. Rachel added, "This is attempted fraud and viola state law." The room exploded. Sarah stood, clutching her own binder. "You told me he was in rehab." Another neighbor. "You said squatters were in his basement." Lisa snapped. "I was protecting home values." Rachel held up the realtor's lapsed license. "With an unlicensed crook?" Tom, finally growing a spine, called a vote to censure Lisa for abuse of power. Hands shot up 3/4 of the board and half the room. Lisa shook, screaming, "I am the HOA!" Rachel leaned in. "No, you tried to sell it off, one fake violation at a time." Lisa bolted, but the reporter caught her in the parking lot. "Care to comment on the illegal home transfer?" Her car door slam was her only reply. By week's end, Lisa was stripped of all HOA roles. A new committee banned unilateral violation notices. Then came the bombshell. Her ex-husband, Mike, showed up with a file. Lisa's HOA scheme, 2019 present. Years ago, in another city, She'd forced out retirees with fake violations, selling their condos to a shady boyfriend. He handed over emails, letters, and receipts. The police got involved. Lisa faced charges: unlawful entry, falsified documents, wire fraud. The detective loved my footage. Her face with that key? Gold. The neighborhood turned on her. Halloween decorations mocked her with fake violation letters. Someone swapped her Neighborhood Watch sign for Neighborhood watched you. Mike, who owned her house post-divorce, EVY'd her. The sheriff served notice as she stood in her robe, clutching her clipboard, yelling, "This is my community!" The deputy just pointed to the paper. "Not anymore. You're trespassing." But Lisa left a trail. Her ex found a box in her garage labeled, "Active Watch List, HOA eyes only." Inside? A list of 27 properties, color-coded with notes. Soft EVY tie-in, push to market, vacation schedules, even divorce filings. My name was there, marked disrupt/replace ownership, with comments like, "Travels often, weak porch lighting, blight narrative." It was a predator's playbook. The board was stunned. Tom whispered, "She had this mapped out. It was about flipping homes under our noses." Voice memos on a flash drive sealed her fate. Lisa's voice. "Lot 225 will cave soon. She's post-surgery, can't handle stress. Send a gutter warning." Another. "Tom won't fight if I call it beautification." The board had enabled her without knowing. We sent it all to the DA. Lisa's case went from local to state level. Some listed properties had sold under suspicious fines, like a retired teacher in Arizona, hounded until she took a cash offer. At a packed community meeting, Brian, her former lackey, confessed. "She called it pruning," he said. "Like neighbors were weeds." The crowd roared. Stories poured out: fines for wheelchair ramps, guest VY sits, even door colors. The HOA bylaws were suspended, replaced by a state committee. Lisa's house sat empty, a taped notice on the door. "Under investigation." The irony was delicious. Lisa tried one last stunt, a 47-page lawsuit against me, Rachel, Tom, Sarah, Brian, the reporter, and John does 1 to 5, claiming we defamed her and ran a cyber-stalking blog. It was a tantrum in legal font, complete with a free template watermark. In court, she wore a blazer-like lawyer cosplay, while VYing a glitter pen folder. Her EVY denke? Her own fake reports. Rachel played Lisa's memo calling me a travel junkie with a sellable porch. The judge sighed. "That's literally you saying it." He dismissed the case, ordered her to pay our fees, and forwarded her new HOA registration attempt to the Attorney General. The courtroom clapped. Lisa's final blow came when the state charged her with 6 counts of document falsification, 3 of impersonation, and 1 of attempted fraud. At trial, her ex testified. It wasn't about order. It was control. She got 2 years probation, a due law $15,000 fine, 200 hours of community service cleaning sidewalks and installing ramps she once fined, and a permanent ban from HOA roles. A photo of her in an orange vest scrubbing a mural went viral, captioned, "Lisa finally complies." Clear Cove rebuilt. We wrote a new 15-page charter, clear and fair, with the Lisa rule: no single member can enforce rules alone, and abuse means instant removal. T-shirts read, Section 8.6. Kids made badges mocking. Zero power assistance. Sarah's newsletter declared, "Lisa tried to own us. Now she's why we're free." We won a state CIVYC award, funding a playground and near a wall. Kids painted a cartoon of Lisa chasing power and tripping over the charter. Lisa? She tried joining a new HOA under a fake name, but Reddit and court clips shut her down. She lives in an HOA-free duplex now, next to a neon purple house and a flamingo lawn. Her clipboard's gone. Her legacy? A meme and a rule named after her. Clear Cove? We dance in the streets, laugh on porches, and let our dogs roam. Lisa thought she owned us. Instead, she gave us a reason to fight and win.